is Inside Out.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is Life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
Welcome to Georgetown and welcome to Inside Out. You know, I've always felt that February is the most passionate month, and I guess that's all because of Valentine's Day. And so every February, I'm always very precise in finding people that are very passionate about a variety of things, like food, art, writing, volunteering. And I hope that through all of this, we will motivate you that if you haven't already found your passion, you will find your passion during the month of February. Welcome. This is Inside Out. Well, as you know, this month it's all about passion, and I found an artist who is incredibly passionate. She's always loved to draw, but the fact is she didn't become a professional artist until 8 years ago. Meet my friend Rebecca Z. And Rebecca, my goodness, 8 years ago you made it happen. You finally are filled with passion.
Oh, yes. I think it's really pretty much living a dream these days. I would have never imagined it and never imagined it possible, but here I am.
Tell me what you did before all of this.
Oh, well, I've worn many hats, let's put it that way. I was a professional nurse for many years and then stayed at home to raise our 4 kids. And when the nest became empty, I was looking for a new focus, a new purpose, feeling like I had a lot of energy and a lot to give, but not much focus. And so my heart just kept drawing me in the direction of more art classes, more painting workshops, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Don't you think that right now, more than ever, the way the world is and the way we're kind of locked behind closed doors, that we need to be creative?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel sorry for anyone who doesn't have a creative outlet during this time, because it's what has literally kept me sane and allowed me to find purpose and pleasure and beauty, even, during this really crazy time.
You teach watercolor at your studio in Restaurant Row in Myrtle Beach, but you also teach online. You're teaching people all over the world. How incredible is that?
It's really, I didn't plan on that either. It's really interesting, when the pandemic shut us down and I realized that we could no longer really meet safely together as we had. We really have a lovely little community that rallies around me in the studio. But we had to pivot. We had to do something. And I knew I didn't want to stop. And so I just have been learning by the seat of my pants how to do this online teaching. And I'm teaching via Zoom. And I'm in the process of forming some, classes that are literally just living online and will be available more broadly soon. But Zoom has been wonderful. Wonderful.
Tell me a little bit about your tours. You travel with people and teach them to paint. This is good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I basically have the joy and the privilege of combining all the things I love and to one little package. And I run my Eat, Paint, Love tours. I like to eat. I like to cook. And so we often combine food and painting and traveling to beautiful places. And it's really fun.
So if all goes well with the pandemic and things slow down, you're going to Venice in October?
Yes, that is the plan and the hope. With the world possibly being capable of opening up again, I'm really looking forward to going to Venice when perhaps there will be fewer people and perhaps there will be a more authentic feel to the town. I love Venice anyway. It's one of my favorite romantic places in the world. And to go there soon, I hope, would be a wonderful way to sort of break out of this quarantine that we've been in.
So you also teach people one-on-one. So it isn't just online classes or studio classes. If someone's interested in learning one-on-one, what's entailed?
Oh, all they have to do is get in touch with me and we'll set up a time that works for both of us mutually. And I just love doing that. You know, people will bring a project to me and it'll maybe be a special gift for somebody that they want to bestow, but they want to have made it themselves, but they lack the confidence. You know, I'll hold their hand and I'll help them, you know, construct it and talk them through and demonstrate if they need it. And it's fun.
But I also know, Rebecca, that you do a lot of commissions for people who really don't want to paint it. They want to hire you to paint their dog or their husband or, you know, some part of their house. You do all of that. And I'm wondering what the most challenging commission has ever been for you.
Oh, that's a great question. I've been part of some really heartfelt stories, and I think the ones that are hardest are the ones that I feel the most pressure to please somebody. I had a recent commission where the gentleman who commissioned me actually passed away before he was able to give the gift of this painting to his wife. And that one was a little bit, you know, there was a little bit more pressure attached to that because I really wanted to please her. And, but it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a part of those exchanges. And a lot of times they're for gifts. And so you kind of see both sides of the story. And it's wonderful to be like the vessel through which that kind of love passes, you know.
I want you to talk a little bit too about your theory on anyone can learn to paint, because you told me that a lot of people say, oh, I have no artistic ability. I never had art in school. Nobody in my family paints. But you said you can do it if you want to.
Oh, I absolutely believe that. I've had so many people come to me and say, I can't draw a stick figure. There's no way I could do that. Well, there are workarounds for a lack of drawing skill. And I really have seen so many people come to me as students and just blossom before my eyes and be capable of doing things that they would have never thought possible. I think we have this weird idea in the United States that you're either born with the talent or not. You've either got it or you ain't got it. And I just don't believe that's true. You know, people used to sit at the foot of the master and paint in the atelier, and they viewed it more as a skill that could be developed. And I believe that. I really think that we're all creative at heart in some way, and that we'll be happier if we nurture that.
I think it's amazing that you are so generous that for every original painting you sell, Rebecca, you give 30% back to either one of your favorite charities or even, if it's a commission, their favorite charity.
You know, it's a funny thing. I personally believe you can't outgive God. And I just sort of, I always had a self-consciousness about putting a price on a painting. And I just found that when and where I made this commitment to a charitable donation, I had an easier time putting a price tag on my work. I had an easier time being unself-conscious about the thrill of a sale, because, you know, not only would it benefit me, but I could see the good that it would do. And that feels really good. And, you know, perhaps in part it's why I've been so blessed in my success. Who knows? You know, these things are a little mysterious, but I just know it feels good.
And a little birdie told me that you're going to be doing something really flashy in February.
Yes. On Fridays at 5, there will be what I'm calling some Friday freebies. And I began this when the quarantine began as a means of sort of reaching out to people and doing something free that might be fun. And I'm going to be doing little tutorials Fridays at 5 on Facebook. So
that's Friday freebies in February.
At 5.
At 5. Pretty flashy. Wouldn't you say? All F's. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us. Your passion is contagious from what I hear from all of your students. Your work is fantastic, to use another F word. And I want you to know that one of the greatest quotes I saw on Rebecca's website was someone who said they'd been taking art for 62 years and she was their best instructor yet. Congratulations, Rebecca. Best wishes.
Thank you so much, Diana. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for sharing your passion with us. A hot steakhouse opening in Georgetown. That's what's up next on Inside Out.
No matter where the day takes me, HTC provides the high-speed internet services I need. HTC delivers faster speeds, 24/7 local tech support, and free in-home Wi-Fi right here to Horry and Georgetown counties. As trusted community members serving up world-class internet service, I know HTC will keep my family connected to what matters most. Because you are here, and so are we.
High-speed internet starting at 300 megabits per second and up to 1 gig for just $49.95.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
How exciting! Georgetown has a new restaurant, SoCo Chop House. Meet one of the owners, because he and his wife own this place. This is Greg Metcalfe. We interviewed Greg many moons ago when he first moved to town with SoCo in Pawleys. And now the name SoCo has been branded with all kinds of restaurants. Run down them for us.
Well, certainly, Diane. We appreciate y'all coming out today. We've been blessed, and my wife and I had the opportunity here in Georgetown to open up our first restaurant last year, SoCo Grill, and it's right on Front Street, right next to the Georgetown Times. It's more of a Southern cuisine with a lot of fresh seafood. We also opened up another restaurant back in August out at Belle Isle. It's called SoCo Marina Grill, and it's at the Yacht Club out there, a smaller version, but right on Wygal Bay. Beautiful, beautiful view, great food. And then most recently, we had our SoCo Land Yacht Barbecue food truck, which we now have for catering jobs and also for charity events and special events here in town. And of course, on Valentine's Day, we finally get to open the Chop House. So we're excited about that.
I know you're going to be taking reservations here on a regular basis, but I heard you were sold out already for Valentine's Day.
We certainly are, and we've done no advertising. It's just our local guests here in town that heard about it, and so they've booked us up.
To have a great steak, chops, fresh seafood, that's the kind of place this is going to be. Very upscale for our area.
It is. It's going to probably be a little bit more upscale than most restaurants. White tablecloth, the whole 9 yards. But we feel that Georgetown County has a need for this. A lot of folks have been talking to us about a good steak, about a place that's formal and intimate. And that's what this is. It's very, very small and quaint. But we're certainly going to provide the best meats around. We have a local butcher, Low Country Butcher, who's doing all of our meats for us. And he's picked them up out of Atlanta, Georgia, from a company called Revere, who is a really exclusive meat packing plant. All prime, all dry aged, and even some Wagyu beef on there.
Wow. I know Chelsea's preparing some things in the kitchen for us, and these steaks are huge.
Oh, yes. Well, the tomahawk ribeye, it's for 2 people. That thing weighs probably 2 pounds. And, of course, we have a porterhouse we have in. It's a 2-pound porterhouse as well. But, you know, if you don't want something that big, we do have a 6-ounce petite filet and a 12-ounce New York strip as well. We have some other items on the menu. We have a lot of fresh seafood, from our Nantucket sea scallops to lobster tail to our fresh local grouper. So not only that, we have a vegetarian pasta dish on the menu. So we're varied a little bit other than just steaks. So if you come in and you're not the big meat eater, we've got something else for you.
You told me that the wine list is going to be exquisite as well.
Well, it certainly is. We've had some help with that. But we're going to have about 100 bottles of wine on the list. And we're going from the high end, from Opus 1 to the Camus to the Jordans, all the way down to your, Sonoma-Cutrers and things that people more used to. But there's not really good wines in the area. And so we really feel like a lot of people have talked to us about this. And so we're going to step our game up a little bit and provide some of the best there is.
You're going to be open only in the evenings, but you told me that maybe in the summer you might consider an early lunch or dinner.
We certainly are. Yep. I think right now we're going to do 5 nights a week, and basically from 4 until 9 and 4 until 10 on the weekends. And then when summertime rolls around, we're going to do more of a bistro menu. So it'll be smaller petite fillets and big salads and these type of things, and some sidewalk and patio dining as well.
I saw on the menu tomahawk. I saw cowboy. What's the difference in those steaks?
Well, the tomahawk is kind of a newer steak out there for folks, but it has a much longer bone. It is the ribeye. It's the same cut, but it has a bigger bone, and the steak itself is going to be bigger and thicker. I mean, it's almost for 2 people. But the cowboy ribeyes really goes way back to the Western days, and that was something that when they came off the trail, they wanted a big old steak with a bone in it, and so that's where the cowboy ribeye comes from. So that's going to be a delicious piece of meat. Like I said, all of our steaks are going to be prime and dry aged, and everything from the filet to the Wagyu. We're also going to have rack of lamb on there and veal chops. So we're excited about the menu. We're excited about who's providing the meat for us, because there's nobody in this area that packs the meat like Revere does out of Atlanta. And our local butcher is going to be cutting it all for us. And so that's real exciting for us too.
I also know that you as a chef really believe in supporting the local farmers. And so I'm sure your veggies and salads and such will all come from the area.
Absolutely. During the summertime, we try to buy as much local as we possibly can. There's some great little farms around here that we take care of. The Blue Truck Farm gives us our blueberries, and she's actually giving us our quail eggs right now and some mushrooms, even in the off season, which is fantastic. And then Millgrove Farms also does a lot of good stuff for us. So we're excited to be doing some business with them. We do have a guy from Strand Produce who goes down to Charleston 4 times a week for us and picks up some beautiful produce. So we always like working with him as well. And then Independent Seafoods right around the corner provides the majority of our seafood for us too.
I heard that you're going to have some specialty desserts, and why not? Your wife, Julie, is a fabulous chef, and I know that her carrot cake is world famous. I've eaten it. But here at this restaurant, you're also going to have something called chocolate sack.
Exactly, yes. We're trying to get a little bit outside the box. Julie's desserts are fabulous, and we're going to bring the carrot cake over here because it sells so well and people love it. But the chocolate sack is something we did years ago for my home state in Ohio. And basically what we do is we take a 1-pound coffee bag, paint it with melted chocolate, freeze it overnight, and then we take the paper off and we stuff it with white chocolate mousse, pound cake, strawberries, kiwis, blackberries with a little Grand Marnier whipped cream, served on a Sabayon with some raspberry puree.
Sabayon, what is that?
Well, creme anglaise, Sabayon, it's a sugar egg yolk
yes.
cream basically. And so we're going to take that to the table. It's going to stand about this tall, and it's going to feed 2 to 4 people. And we're going to cut it on the table for you and serve it to you tableside. So that's going to be exciting. It's one of the desserts nobody in the area has. And we're excited to be producing it here. And I think that when people come in, even if you don't come in for a steak and you come in just for dessert, that's going to be your go-to for sure.
I saw a trifle over there that I wouldn't mind sampling. Tell me about that.
Well, we're doing a Grand Marnier trifle, and that's old school, comes from the English. And it's going to have pound cake, and it'll have a Grand Marnier whipped cream in there as well, fresh strawberries, fresh kiwis, and a little bit of custard. And that's going to be one of our signature desserts. We're also doing a baked chocolate souffle, which you order when you come in and sit down. And also my wife's recipe for the Granny Smith apple pie will be done to order too in little cast iron skillets. So the tiramisu is also hers, so that's going to be a pretty solid dessert as well. But our desserts are going to be fabulous here, just like they are across the street at SoCo Grill.
Has it been pretty easy to staff the restaurant?
Remarkably enough, we have been very fortunate. Our kitchen staff has been phenomenal in all 3 locations, and Chelsea's been leading the team with that, so that's been great. I've been able to step out of the kitchen, which normally is unusual for me because, you know, I like having my hands in it. But she's done a wonderful job getting the staff together, and Ryan across the street is running that restaurant now. So we're real happy with the crew. The front of the house, I've got wonderful people in the front of the house, from Julie on down to Nicole and the gang over across the street. So we're fortunate. We've been blessed.
The patio is adorable, and I know it's not even quite finished yet, but by the time Valentine's Day comes, you're going to have it all done.
Oh, we'll be finished with that for sure, even if I have to work day and night out there. But it is beautiful. It reminds me of New Orleans or even Charleston, some of the nice little patios in the back. We're going to have a beautiful fountain in the middle with some kois and some beautiful lighting going out of the fountain. And it's just going to be very quaint. We'll be playing some Frank Sinatra music out throughout the entire restaurant. And we'll have a little entertainment out there in the summertime playing a little Frank Sinatra music as well. So
tell me about the barn doors, too. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, we're going to enclose it with glass all the way around, but we'll have these sliding barn doors that will open up in the summertime to give us that beautiful, warm, feeling of being by the ocean. And so we're excited about that. It'll open the entire place up, and then in the wintertime we can close it off and be nice and warm and cozy.
Another thing that I love about you, Greg, is that ever since you left North Carolina, even though I know Ohio's your home state.
That's right.
You were in North Carolina for a long time up in the mountains, and you moved here with a benevolent heart. And I know you've done the Pawleys Island Festival of Music and Art, and you work for Friendship place and family justice. You've done it all. Tell me how you're doing that now.
Well, we've decided with the food truck that we got from my brother-in-law, it is the SoCo Land Yacht Barbecue food truck. And since he gave such a generous offer of donating it to us, we're using that as our charity events. And so basically anybody who has a charity out there that they're fond of and want us to come on board, we'll bring it to your charity event. We'll cook the food and we'll give you part of the proceeds of what we're doing there for every charity. We did it for the Family Justice Center recently and for Friendship Place. We certainly want to do that throughout the year. So we're going to be doing as much of that as we possibly can. It's kind of our charity on wheels is what we like to call it. But it's a fun little thing. It's a smoker. It's a unique little truck that you're not going to find anywhere else.
So not only a culinary heart, but certainly a benevolent heart. Greg Metcalfe, the area is lucky to have you here, and Georgetown's going to be thrilled with the SoCo Chop House. Remember, sold out on Valentine's Day, but they're open the rest of the time. Give them a call for your reservation. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Diane. We appreciate it.
A culinary hobbyist turned entrepreneur coming up, so don't go away.
Honey, I think I'll adjust the thermostat. It's getting a little cool.
Mom, you don't have to get up to do that. I've installed the HTC Connected Home app on your phone. See, you can adjust the temperature from anywhere. Okay, Mom, I've got to go. Thanks for house sitting. Make sure to lock the door and set the alarm.
No problem. I have everything I need right here.
HTC Self-Install Kit, $0 with 36-month monitoring commitment.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
In mid-January, thanks to Anderson Brothers Bank and a few other minor sponsors, Conway was lucky enough to have a synthetic ice skating rink. And even when people fell, they seemed to be having a really good time.
This segment of Inside Out is brought to you by Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.
February is all about passion here on the show, and I met someone, believe it or not, last May at the Conway Farmers Market who was so passionate about her new hobby that's now turned into a business that I said I had to get her on this show. And you see, Niki Reed started a microgreens business right in the beginning of 2020. Who would want to have started a business in 2020? But you've been successful, bravo.
I have. Thank you very much, Diane. I appreciate it.
Why and how did you get into microgreens? Why this?
I'll tell you. I was visiting my sister in Arizona at the end of December 2019 into 2020. And so I was there for New Year's and said, oh my goodness, 2020 is just going to be the most amazing year. And what can I do to get healthier? So that was a seed that was planted in my head. Okay, I'm going to get healthier. Go forward to January 10th, and a webinar came across my phone of microgreens. I watched it. And then 14, 15 hours later, over the next couple of days, I can grow microgreens and I will be healthier as a result of it.
And so now you have this beautiful greenhouse, so to speak, out here on the other side of your home.
Yes.
Tell us what's happening out there.
That's my micro nursery. And something that's very exciting that I started at the beginning is that I became USDA approved for good agricultural practices.
And that's hard to get accomplished.
It's a long process of the bookwork to show that you really are doing it correctly, and it is in my home. So yes, I have a micro nursery back there. I'm growing microgreens for not only myself now.
Well, and of course, as I said, I met you at the Conway Farmers Market. You had just started. You're still doing the farmers markets, but that's not your goal.
No, it's a great way to get in touch with my community and teach them and be part of their weekly lives. But I want to do home delivery subscription program to where you go to my website, you can pick out what I have. I'll let you know of new things that I've grown, of what I have, so you can pick and choose. And I can deliver to your home in a safe manner during this pandemic. I can deliver to your home on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, once a month.
And you told me that if people left like a cooler out on the porch, you don't even have to see them. You just put the stuff in the cooler. When they come home from work, there it is.
Cooler, ice pack. I will provide the container. You get the container back to me the next time. I'll provide the container, another container to you, and then we'll just keep rotating it. Leave the money or pay on my website.
So you've learned a lot about this. Educate us. What is this?
Those are organic black oiled sunflowers, and they are babies. They just went under the light yesterday, and they are an unsaturated fat. They are unsaturated, which is a good fat.
Good for us.
Good for you. They'll fill you up more quickly. They have a nutty, velvety flavor, and they weren't my favorite. They weren't my favorite when I first tried them. And I
like it.
I'll talk to you a little bit later on as how they became one of my favorites.
Okay, what's this?
Those are baby peas. They're the same age as the sunflowers. They're baby sweet peas, and I believe they're of the speckled pea variety.
And how much bigger will they get before you harvest them?
They will be about 6-7 inches. 6-7 inches, 10 days of growth. Yep.
How about this one?
Those are the same thing.
As this?
Yes, it is. Yeah. They've already been harvested. And this is a bumper crop that if you were to grow these yourself, you would get a second harvest with just giving them light and water.
Now, is this what you told me earlier that you're growing for chickens?
Yes. And they love them. I saw videos and they just bark, bark, bark.
So you sell them to farmers to feed to the chickens?
There's one farmer, one egg man, his name's Jack Bubenik, and he has soy-free eggs. So he does not give the chickens any soy in their diet, and he is very particular about what they eat, and he purchases these from me.
Who would have known when you started this business you'd be feeding the chickens?
I know.
How about the purple?
The purple one? This is red Reuben basil. Beautiful. It looks beautiful on your food, and the flavor. A lot of people like basil. Yeah.
How about next to that, the final one?
This is arugula.
Oh, it doesn't look like arugula.
It is arugula. Yes, this is baby arugula. It has a bold flavor, but it's not overpowering. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the things you've learned to do with the microgreens, Niki.
Sure. Being that coming into 2020, I wanted to be healthier. Well, I wasn't going to sit and eat bowls of microgreens and just eat bowls and bowls. You get tired of having the salads. But what I did find out is you don't have to cut, dice, slice as much to be able to get the health benefits from it. So let's just say this is a serving, okay? That is the equivalent of a salad, literally that size.
You mean as far as
nutritional
nutrients?
Value. So you're getting such a condensed, they're considered a superfood. It actually boosts your immune system. the microgreens do.
So you would put it on chili? That's what this is?
Yes, yeah, I certainly would. Start with the larger one first because it's all about
looking good.
Yeah, you got to have the. So these are sunflowers like the ones there, but these are mature. So you just put that on top of there, and then you got the sunflower, and then this is a salad mix, which is a combo of arugula, broccoli, kohlrabi, kale, and red acre cabbage.
Wow.
And there you go. And you can stir it in if you'd like, or you can eat it right like that with taking your bites of it. And it just adds a delicious flavor to it.
And the chili smells great. Now I'm looking at peanut butter and jelly. Are you going to put greens on peanut butter and jelly? You can't improve. You can't improve on peanut butter.
This is what happened. Limited time going to farmers markets, needed to pack a lunch. So I was making my go-to peanut butter and jelly. And I thought, you know what? If you want to get your greens in for your lunch, then you put it on there. And so I started putting them on here. And they literally, it adds a crunch to it. It adds flavor to it. And I've had people that said, you know what? I took you up on it. I tried it. And you know what? I won't eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without it now. It tastes delicious, and it gives it this crunch that it didn't have before.
Well, it's a great way, certainly, to introduce it to anyone, but especially to children.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. Kids will go by and see the peas, and I offer a sample to them. And you know that some of these children, it's the only greens that they've ever had before. What the feeling I get, or a parent's eyes when they see a child that doesn't eat greens and they're sitting there, because I'll say, oh, pretend you're a dinosaur eating a tree, you know, to a little boy or a little girl, oh, a pony or a goat or whatever comes to mind. And they'll try it. Some kids go, this tastes like grass, and they'll spit it out. But I always tell them, I have a trash can, you can always spit it out if you don't like it, but some of them try it and they like it.
Well, I love peanut butter and jelly. That's an amazing way to get your greens. Sure. And what is the most unusual thing you've ever done with greens that you turned up liking?
Wasn't sure if I like sunflowers. That's a really good question. And so what I did was, I ended up putting sunflowers on an egg one day, and found out that was absolutely delicious.
On an egg?
On an egg. Absolutely delicious.
And that's even like a sunny side up one. I can see putting them in like an omelet, but a sunny side up egg, pretty delicious. Creative. Yeah. So there's so many things you can do with greens. And for people who didn't get healthy in 2020, well, it's time to get healthy in 2021. And how do you do it? It's with Niki Reed. And when are you starting your home delivery service?
Immediately. I already am home delivering, so I'd like to just keep building on it and helping the community and let everybody realize that microgreens are such an easy way in order to bring better health and nutrition to us.
And remember too that she's at all the farmers markets with the Waccamaw Co-op. Have yourself a little bite.
I think I will.
We're having a sunflower tea party. You bet. Thanks, Niki.
Thank you.
The Conway Quilt Guild is making a big difference in our community, one stitch at a time. Learn all about it when we come back. Proper serving, proper distancing. We're into safety at Magnolia's. Our staff now plates your food with all your favorite choices from the buffet, salad bar, and dessert bar, and it's still all you can eat. There's also breakfast, evening, and an expanded Sunday buffet. Mama says she can't cook it that cheap. Plus, the kids will love the yummy ice cream machine. Magnolia's, good old Southern comfort food. It's where Mama eats. The President of the Conway Quilt Guild joins us now. I want you to meet Kathleen Armoll. And she loves what she does. She's been a quilter for how long now, Kathleen?
Over 40 years, personally.
Wow. Who got you into quilting?
My college roommate, believe it or not. She taught me how to do my very first piece. I still have that to this day.
Well, you started early, but so did the Conway Quilt Guild, and you guys have grown tremendously. Let's talk about the growth.
Well, back in 2013, as part of the Horry County Parks and Recreation Senior Program, the late Kim Parker came to me and asked if I would help her organize a quilt guild. We did the first meeting that January, and 9 people showed up. Out of that 9 people, only 4 of us were quilters. 5 had varying degrees of sewing ability. And what started out as a small project to help one of the members try to finish a family project of 5, completing 5 quilts, we ended up slowly building to today's count is 79 members of varying degrees of quilting.
But you're looking for even more members, aren't you?
Always, always. We're always looking for members.
When do you meet?
We meet here at the historic Cochran Building, which is home of the Horry County Parks and Recreation Administration offices on Oak Street here in Conway. And we meet the 3rd Thursday of every month from 10 until around 4 o'clock. The business meeting itself is in the morning. In the afternoon, we dedicate that time to free sew projects or projects that we may be working on as a group.
It would be easier, Kathleen, for me to ask you who you have not made quilts for than to ask you who you've made quilts for, because over the years, you all have run the gamut. So let's talk about some of the things y'all are doing now.
Our very first philanthropic endeavor that we have done here at the Guild were quiltlets for Conway Medical Center, the birthplace. And this started as the very first one. One of our members is a volunteer down there, and she brought this project to us. And this is what a quiltlet is. It's a small quilt that is just the right size to put over an incubator in the newborn unit. The baby and the parents each get one of these to take home with them if we can supply enough of them. Since we've started, we've made over 4,500 quiltlets for Conway Medical Center.
Amazing.
The other things we have done is we have made what we call charity quilts, or comfort quilts, I should say. These comfort quilts have gone to various homeless places, teenage rescue places, things like that here in the county. And those are smaller quilts. And I don't know if you could see one right over here, but it's the red and white stripe one. I'm not sure if Beck can move that a little bit there. But anyway, we make those, and we always give a quilt with a matching pillowcase to these groups. Now, we also started something 2 years ago with the Conway Police Department, and that has spilled over into Fostering Hope, where we give them a little bag with a pillow and a pillowcase and a little quilt to help those children when they need to go into a stressful situation, remove the child from the home. Instead of placing everything into a garbage bag, they get this little tote bag and they can quick throw things in and go on their merry way.
I know that you provide quilts for the organization Quilts of Valor,
Yes, ma'am.
fire departments for people who have been burned out of everything. I mean, there's the list is unbelievable. What can the public do to help you?
We officially and legally became a nonprofit this past year.
Yay!
And we can accept anything in donation-wise to the Guild, fabric, things like that, that can help us out in all these endeavors that we take upon us as a Guild.
Oh, I imagine that most of you ladies have already reached into your pocket at one time or another to buy fabric. So yeah, I know you could use some donations.
Absolutely.
What are some of the projects you're going to be doing this year so we can get some new members to come on board?
Well, we are going to continue making the animal beds for the Horry County Shelter. We will continue with Quilts of Valor. We have, of course, our quiltlets that I spoke about, breast cancer, and with the pillows for breast cancer, and with the addition to the oncology unit down in CMC this past year, we're going to work towards cancer quilts that they can use when they come in for chemo, and they'll be able to get a quilt at that time. We started that project late this past year. We will continue to make masks, of which we have made and donated over 5,700 masks.
Wow.
Throughout the community as well as throughout places in the United States. We also do the port softies, and that seems to be about what we're going to head into this year, other than just our learning sessions as well with our own group of members.
Well, I've got to get one of those official Conway Quilt Guild masks, that's for sure, so I can wear it around town and brag about it. But I think it's a wonderful organization. It sounds like y'all are a group of loving people who become loving friends and family with each other. And most of all, if volunteers are looking to do something with an organization that's warm and cozy, there's no doubt it's this one. Right, Kathleen?
Absolutely, Diane. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And
you go ahead.
I was just going to say, for those of you who have a needle and thread and enjoy quilting, come join us and come see what we're about.
You got it. This is Kathleen Armold and the Conway Quilt Guild. Pretty darn passionate, don't you think? There's a beautiful thing happening at the beautiful Gate Lodge in Loris. The story next on Inside Out.
As fellow community members, HTC believes in helping friends and neighbors protect what matters most. With integrated home technology, I can control my home and security system from my smartphone. HTC Security makes my job easier and keeps my world running smoothly. No matter where the day takes me, HTC brings reliable, world-class security right here to Horry and Georgetown counties because you are here, and so are we.
Upgrade your security with the video doorbell from HTC.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
This segment of HTC Inside Out is presented by the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
We're getting ready to meet someone who's very passionate about what she does. This is Debbie Falkowski, and she is the, CEO, Executive Director of Beautiful Gate Lodge in Loris, which is part of Coastal Rescue Mission. And it's a nonprofit organization, and Deb's the one who got it all started. So Deb, what was the impetus behind this?
There was a need. Unfortunately, too many people, too many situations where women were being left out when it comes to somewhere for them to shelter, somewhere for them to get recovery. If you don't have children that are living and residing with you, there really aren't a whole lot of options for you.
And there's a lot of organizations in town where women are mixed in with men, and that's not always what women need.
Correct. Most of the time they need to be separated out. They need to have that individualized attention. They also need to learn how to fend for themselves and how to learn how to love themselves.
So Beautiful Gate Lodge is in Loris, and that's the facility under Coastal Rescue Mission. And there, you do what with the women? They're housed there, and what else?
So a typical day here starts about 8 o'clock in the morning. They get up, they have their morning meditation. 9 o'clock, we start class. Now, class here goes everything from basic life skills, which to me is especially for the women here, that's the resumes, that's learning to change a tire, that's changing oil, that's how to write a resume, how to, even things as simple as reading contracts, things that they did not either grasp or never were taught in a younger age, or really haven't had to deal with, because there's always been someone around to do it for them. Then in the afternoons, we tend to get into the more deeper things like relapse prevention, PTSD, anger management, step work, things like that that dig deeper into their core issues so we can resolve them and move forward in life.
Deb, are you dealing with any women who have addiction issues?
So not everyone that walks in the door here has suffered with addiction or alcoholism, but I'm a firm believer that everyone is addicted to something, and they had to have been addicted to or were dealing with something in their previous situation that led them here in the first place. So even though they may not be an addict or an alcoholic, I'm a firm believer that the 12 steps can help anyone. I was never an addict or an alcoholic, but the 12 steps helped me after a painful divorce.
Tell me a little too, Deb, about human trafficking. Are you seeing any women who have experienced that in our area?
Unfortunately, it is a huge problem in our area, and way too many of the girls here come way too close to having it happen to them. They end up in situations where they know something's wrong. And fortunately, that little voice inside of them gets them out of there before it's too late. But unfortunately, they've seen some of their friends and other people that they're friends with and have dealt with it along the way that don't make it.
Deb, I know you have 2 children. You treat these women like your children or your sisters. And I mean, you've had better things to do with your life, but yet you found time for something that you're passionate about in order to make life better for these women. How rewarding has it been?
It's extremely rewarding. I would love to say that this was my dream job or this is what I went to school for. It's not. This is where God put me. I really didn't have a choice. I had no idea this is what I was going to do. I worked for some other organizations, volunteering, trying to help out with things like food stamps, paperwork. That's my forte. That's where I'm good at. I'm like, oh, I'll just help fill out paperwork for you and do this. And I ended up being really good at this. And when I left there, all these people in the community just kept coming to me and saying, you need to open your own place. And it was like, yeah, sure. With what money? I don't have it. And God said, here you go. You're going to do it. And to say I've been blessed, it's not just the relationships with the girls here. It's beyond that. It's every day it's something new.
So I would guess you also help the women with bank accounts and checkbooks and all of that, because, you know, that's something that most people never learn in school.
Yes, one of the things they learn here is there is money management classes. They do have to learn how to deal with a register and a checkbook, how to properly write a check, because not many people know how to actually properly write a check. But also they learn about their credit. They learn to clean up that stuff. My goal here with them is when they leave here, they're going to go above and beyond what they've been before. They're going to be more than just that contributing member of society. I want them to succeed, not just live.
So Deb, you already said you didn't have any money. So how did you get all this started? Tell me about your partners and your funding.
Well, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have any of it. But we do have partners in the community such as Grand Strand Hospital, Shoreline, Crossway Church, H2O Ministries, Open Heart Community Outreach, Lighthouse, You Are Love Ministries. There's just so many in the community that are helping out with that as far as bringing us food donations and even prayers. But mainly God, individual donations, I can't even tell you. And it breaks my heart because I don't ever get to see them. And I want to give them big old hugs, but I don't get the chance to. But I cannot tell you how many times someone has dropped off an envelope with a note on the outside of it that says, God told me to leave this for you. Mm-hmm. And there'd be a couple $100 in there. And I don't get a chance to give them a big hug or add them to our community tree. We did just receive the SC Cares grant, which is a huge help.
Yes.
Our first grant for us. So that's something new. But other than that, we do fundraisers. The girls sold cookies at Christmas. And last year we did some yard sales. But fundraising isn't really my forte. It's not anything I'm really good at. Could totally use some help with that if you know anybody out there.
So obviously you could use more volunteers, because you even told me you have one counselor who comes in and works with the girls, but you could use another.
Correct. I could use all the volunteering I could get. These girls need to see somebody other than me every day. Pretty much it's me 7 days a week. The girls get the counselor, and because thanks to COVID, they're doing it via Zoom. The girls need meetings. The girls need interaction. We need help with maintenance. Building projects. The girls learn how to build all kinds of things because I'm not scared of a hammer or a saw. But in the meantime, I'm only one person. And I'm a firm believer God's going to bring whoever here that is supposed to be here, and they're going to know exactly how they're supposed to help.
You are in Loris, and so we want to remind all of our volunteers in that area to reach out and help Debbie. She can handle 9 women where she is there, but she's got a dream for bigger and better, maybe a facility that would house even more women. But she needs volunteers and funding to make it happen. Thank you. God bless you. Your passion is obviously going to be very contagious when you hear from some of our volunteers who are watching us right now.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you so very much. A local author creates a fictional story about Myrtle Beach's Boardwalk. Meet Caleb Wygal in just a moment.
The bedrock principle that drives our law firm is our unyielding dedication to working for the best interests of our clients.
The whole staff of the firm were very welcoming and nurturing to us. Everyone in the family was cared for.
This firm has made us feel so welcome and comforted, stepping us through and making us feel like family.
We will take care of you and make sure that you're treated fairly and treated properly.
How about a hot read on these cold winter nights? How about Death on the Boardwalk, a Myrtle Beach mystery? Let me read you one line and I'll introduce you to the author. The Myrtle Beach Boardwalk is normally an idyllic place, as we all know, until death arrives on recently widowed bookstore owner Clark Thomas's doorstep. Meet the author. This is Caleb Wygal. And Caleb, I always love having authors on who have written books about Myrtle Beach, whether it's history, whether it's true or whether it's not true. This was fascinating. How'd you come up?
Enjoyed it.
I mean, my goodness, I love the boardwalk and all the places. I mean, you talk about the Gay Dolphin. You talk about a lot of places we know. You also added in some places like a bookstore, which of course we don't have a bookstore on the boardwalk. But I found it all very interesting to read about our hometown. So tell me how this all came about.
Well, the way it all came about is my wife and I, we moved down here 2 years ago. And we have a son that I have to stay home and take care of. And I was in between writing books at the time. This is my 5th book, and I write an adventure series for this. And I was thinking about the next book I was going to write. And my son, he stopped wanting to take naps in his crib or then in his toddler bed. And I'd have to drive him up and down the boardwalk or up and down Ocean Boulevard to get him to take a nap. So as you go up and down through there, you see, I mean, yeah, there's millions of tourists that come here every year, but there's also the same people who work there from day to day. So everybody, and I know from working retail before, everybody kind of gets to know each other who works nearby. So I thought, well, maybe I could set a mystery series here. And I started doing some searches and looking at different unsolved mysteries, and I found one kind of nearby in Florence. I thought, well, I could base that in a resort and have a woman show up on this guy's doorstep one morning rolled up in a rug. And it's kind of the whole mystery popped into my head like that.
Well, even though you take care of your son, you told me you do social media and you build websites all from your home for clients. And I can see that after you told me that. I can see a lot of that in the book. Now, It was interesting, too, that you didn't use real people. Like you talk about a male Myrtle Beach mayor when we know there's a female Myrtle Beach mayor. But I guess that's safe not to use real people's names in a book like this.
Yeah. I mean, the other books I've written, there's been one instance where I actually used the person that I actually talked to, like doing research for a book on a Blackbeard book that I did several years ago. But other than that, I try to change names, change likenesses to protect the innocent and not ruffle any feathers.
Well, no, I don't think you ruffled any feathers, but it was very intriguing. And you had to do a lot of research. I mean, you had to get in there and understand, and I guess people won't understand this question until they read the book, but you had to understand hotel and resort management and accounting and a lot of retail experience in order to kind of, write up the crime.
Yeah. Well, the retail part of it, that's what I did before I started doing the social media market. I did that for about 10 years.
In Charlotte?
Yeah, in Charlotte. I was a district trainer for Target, and I do electronics and backroom and inventory management. So I understood the flow of everything. And one of the dreams that my wife and I had a while back was actually starting a bookstore. So I did a lot of research into how a bookstore starts and is ran. I talked to different bookstore owners, small bookstore owners about that life. And as far as the hotel is concerned, the way that works is before we moved here, we traveled here often. And there was one resort in particular on the strip that my parents like to go to. And so I fashioned this off the resort in the book, The Oceanscapes, off of the resort that we used to stay at.
Well, they always say, Caleb, write what you know.
Exactly.
And it's easier that way than just always creating everything. So I really loved Clark, the leading guy here in the book. And, I thought he was a really cool guy. But I kept thinking, okay, he's widowed. What happened to his wife, Autumn? And I kept wanting to read about Autumn. And then when I got to the very end, that's when I found out, Caleb, that there's more in the next book about Autumn, huh?
Yes, there'll be more in the next book and in the entire series about Autumn. The way it works is there's a little bit of a mystery surrounding her that you'll learn in the end about exactly what the mystery is, and that's what's going to carry into the next book. Like literally the last line of this book is the first line of the second book in the series. So it's going to pick up right where this one leaves off, and there's a big cliffhanger, but it's going to pay off at the beginning of the next book.
Well, I'm excited for you. Death on the Boardwalk is a fun read. And yeah, it's a great beach read, but it's a little cold for the beach right now. So cuddle up by the fire and get Death on the Boardwalk. And how can people find the book other than, of course, at local bookstores?
They'll be able to find it mainly on Amazon.com. You can get it on Kindle and paperback and in hardcover. The hardcover is beautiful, by the way. And you can find it on BarnesandNoble.com. indiebound.com, and there's other ones, but just Google me, go on my website, you'll be able to find them.
Caleb, thank you so very much. Thank you for sending me the book. I enjoyed it. I know folks will as well. Death on the Boardwalk, Caleb Wygal. Next month on the March edition of Inside Out, while everyone has the Irish spirit, I'll introduce you to a farm in Horry County that has some pretty heavy Irish roots. A farm that was actually divided when they were building the Intracoastal Waterway. We'll also head to Aynor, where you'll meet a young man who's a student, but he's building his own business, one t-shirt and hat at a time. We'll see you next month as we go inside and out of Horry and Georgetown counties.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is Life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.